Hello, I am Reverend Dr. Vanessa M. Brown, and I'm the Senior Pastor of Rivers of Living Water, United Church of Christ of New Jersey and New York. And I'm here to talk to you today about marriage equality and the Respect for Marriage Act. I don't know if you know, but a supermajority of the American people, around about 71%, support the freedom to marry. That's a big number. Despite there being widespread and bipartisan support for the Respect for Marriage Act and for marriage equality in general, there is a need to recognize the current political climate and what it has become. And from what I can see, it's increasingly hostile toward LGBTQ plus people, particularly transgender folks. With as many as 238 bills being proposed within the first 3 months of 2022 that would limit the rights of LGBTQ plus Americans. Moving forward, LGBTQ plus organizations are taking proactive steps to ensure marriage equality is protected and are pushing for change at the state level too. While 15 states and Washington, D.C. have laws to explicitly affirm the right to same-sex marriage, 25 states have banned same-sex marriage under both their constitution and state law, all of which were invalidated by 2015 or in 2015 by the Obergefell ruling. Lawmakers at the state level have the ability to protect same-sex marriage, and some state legislators are moving to repeal statutes that prevented marriages from taking place in the state. I'm so happy to report earlier this year in New Jersey, for instance, the state legislature ensured that same-sex partners will be able to marry even if the Supreme Court were to revisit Obergefell. We need to remove discriminatory laws. Somebody said, what do we need to do? Get to the point. Well, this is what we need to do. We need to remove discriminatory laws from the books so that marriage is protected. That includes repealing the so-called Defense of Marriage Act. Some activists say that what people can do also moving forward is to go out and vote. Vote for the candidates and policies that vow to protect the future of LGBTQ rights. The November election is right around the corner. And activists say there needs to be pushback against the sentiment that calls Obergefell into question or suggests that this case was improperly decided and should be revisited by the Supreme Court. There are voices across the political spectrum that can and should speak out against this. And I think that's an important asset to leverage in kinds of ways that we can nip this in the bud and not letting it grow into the next kind of moral panic. LGBTQ plus organizations are urging folks to stay informed, contact your elected officials, and go out and vote this November to ensure that we can replace members of Congress who do not support LGBTQ plus rights, who do not support LGBTQ plus equality with pro-equality representatives. You have the power to do that. Further, LGBTQ plus couples are being encouraged to take additional steps to insulate their marriages or their partnerships from standard interference. This can look like preparing medical proxies, power of attorney forms, setting up living trusts, ensuring that both partners have equal rights over their children, and more. LGBTQ plus folks and allies should also educate family members and other allies on what kind of a threat is starting to bubble up around the issue of marriage equality. Listen, folks, this is not a moral issue. This has nothing to do with God and nothing to do with church and religion. There is separation of church and state. Your nuptials are for the church, your paperwork is for the state. I encourage you, this is a human rights issue, not a moral issue. This is a human rights issue, and I encourage you in November to show them that it is a human rights issue. that if people want to marry whomever they want to marry, they have the right to do so. I thank you so very much for listening. Thank you for your time and for your attention.